Welcome back to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And I feel like the information I'm presenting, sharing with you, is of vital importance. It could be the missing puzzle piece to help you in your life. So I'm actually excited to share this. I'm excited to share all my content, and most of my content comes from me. It's my journey, it's my process, it's the way I look at things and and analyze things. I'm sharing with you, uh, very authentically, uh, and this actually goes right into the subject. The subject is basically, how to attract a partner, how to maintain and get into a real relationship that actually works without like any like techniques, without any psychology, uh, nothing that you really have to subscribe to. But when I think about it and boil it down to what works and what doesn't work, uh, it really comes down to a few things, 5 things, and they're kind of universal. So if you want a better paying job, if you want to communicate better with your fellow employees, if you want to have a better dynamic going on with your family, friends, loved ones, like uh, it doesn't matter what you're doing, uh, because all paths are one. If you apply these principles, or if you really understand what I'm saying, you can live a better life right now. By the end of this video, you can be like, you'll never do life the same way again. So I'm becoming more and more aware, besides people just being misinformed, uh, we have a huge like learning gap. There's these gaps in our life, in our childhood development, in our upbringing. There's gaps in our society, and these gaps are kind of like that void that you're always trying to feel, that kind of nameless, unknown space. But what that void is not being clearly informed, not seeing the big picture, to see that it's a missing puzzle piece and it's a cloud that you're looking for, not a tree. And so we, with our limited information, with our limited education knowledge, uh, we then fill it in with seemingly sensible stories. We fill it in with gut feelings, instinct, uh, abstract ideas like faith and religion and spirituality. We fill it in with intuiting our guides and psychedelics and medication and therapy, morality, and all this abstractness is very subjective. And it actually creates a block. It creates a delusion. It creates an illusion. It creates an assumption. It creates a oops. And then, so from a really big, tragic oops, like breaking up with someone and not being with that partner who really might be what New Agers call soulmate or twin flame, a happy ever after, because maybe we bought into fear, false evidence appearing real, fear. Now listen to fear, false evidence appearing real. Evidence appearing real is what it looks like to our brain, to our conditioning, but we don't know that it's false. So we panic, we see danger, we see threat, we see something we must back away from. So usually with fear, you're being triggered. So fear comes with a caveat of your baggage and your limited knowledge and education, okay? So this is where I think we do a tower moment. we call ourselves out and say, yes, I don't know everything. And yes, all the information that I have faith in, that I trust, that I value, is subject to change. It's not the total truth. I can only use it as a guideline. So, yes, I am open and I would like growth. I would like evolution. I would like to update my beliefs. Beliefs that are more of that abstract, vague stuff that we cement in to fill in the gap of missing data, missing information. So, I like to think of once upon a time we had records, vinyls, and we had CDs. And if you scratch a CD, there was a way to kind of fix it so the CD player would read it, so the laser beam would read it. You would take a very fine toothpaste and you would rub it over the top. And then you would take a cloth and you would swipe over it a few times in one direction so it wouldn't scratch. And it would kind of fill in that scratch. And then the CD player would read your CD because CDs were prone to scratching. So once again, there's that gap, but what you were filling it in with was toothpaste, not the actual information that would have to be sent back to the manufacturer and re-lasered over, recoded. So it's like putting in junk DNA, filler DNA. And which is really interesting is they're kind of playing around with that idea in laboratories. Putting in like spacer DNA to act. But anyways, we won't get into that. So life is a mirror. You can look at real world events symbolically to help you cognitively understand things. Hence, that's what math is. That's what science is. That's what technology is in a way when it's instruments of science. We create maps, we create symbols to help understand and gain more knowledge about a very, very big experience that we're in. A lot of our experience we're not able to sense it with our five senses or experience it physically. Like Mars is there, yet Mars is as believable as gravity. Okay? Yet we really don't always sense gravity, and we don't really understand Mars unless you go there and feel the dirt and the sand. So here's a good example of the gap, and we fill it in with mathematics. We fill it in with readings. We fill it in with looking through a telescope. And then we just assume it is so. We assume it so much it's real as needs be. It's not so real like a doorknob that you use every day to open your door, but it's real enough that you just kind of fill in the blank and you assume Mars is doing Mars things and functioning as Mars, and everything's good in our solar system, and you can go to work not worried about Mars, okay? Because you have filled in the gap. We have assumed it's still there. So that's what I'm saying. In very simple ways, this assumption mechanism is designed to help you fill in blanks so you can kind of see a roadmap through the jungle of life and navigate. You assume when you get to work, the building is going to be there. You assume if you take the same route, you're going to end up in the same place, okay? So you could call it like a law of assumption. It works for you and it works against you. And so a lot of our blind spots, a lot of our self-deception, a lot of reasons why we don't grow is because of this gap that I'm becoming very exceedingly aware of. And how we fill it up with sweet stories of hope and faith. I feel like... So, anyways, I really also think of it as a log cabin. Back in the day when they built log cabins, they filled in those spaces with dirt, mud, weeds, manure, who knows, straw, different things to seal in the cracks, to keep out the cold, and to keep in the heat and things like that. So it's normal, it's natural, it's kind of ingenious. So let's just, acknowledge it instead of like scapegoat it. Okay, but let's really move into this. So, uh, these qualities you need, that you have to be actively embodying this in your character and in your life, in your daily life. And what it is, the very first thing on my list is you actually have to have purpose. You're alive, you're here for a certain amount of time. There's a lot of bullshit going on in the world. And through this bullshit, through this suffering, it might highlight what you really value, what you really need, what your friends, loved ones need. What does the world need? What can you provide? Is how you kind of actually find your purpose. So artists look into the world and go, you guys need color. You guys need inspiration. You guys need sound. And more than you needing it, I need it for my survival. So what I do for survival, what I do to find sanity, what I do to find freedom, this deep need is a deep value, and that kind of creates my purpose. I do it, it fulfills me, but the world needs it too. So, in a weird way, serving yourself is a way to learn what the world needs, and you can serve them how you know how to serve yourself. So, purpose for yourself individually, in this day and age, it's a collective experience. We are a global community. What one country or person does has an impact on all of us. And so this awareness moves into our daily lives. And that so the same impact of living in a global community can make you feel trapped and stuck in life. It impacts you in a negative way, and it impacts you in a positive way. So, in order to deal with this massive impact, this almost like an invisible stressor behind the scenes, undermining our daily lives and collectively, you find your purpose. And it gives you strength, it gives you energy, it clarifies, it helps you make better choices, gives you automatic boundaries because you're living for something. So, really knowing death, suffering, and pain is right here. One wrong choice, one wrong move, and you're going to pay for it in some way. Invisibly, more on a more abstract level, or very physically, a loss of a home, loss of loved ones, being fired, all kinds of a loss of a friendship, a fight, an argument, these being acted out. When you have your purpose, you kind of know it reprioritizes your value system. And so you're not taking a big impact when someone who's not on your line, not within your scope of purpose, is giving you feedback that you don't like. It's not devastating. It kind of helps you sort people out, and it clarifies things. So getting to know who you are, what you need, what you value, what works for you, what doesn't work with you, refines the clarity and highlights your purpose. So it's kind of automatic. Know thyself. But when you have that purpose, it automatically filters out people not on your path, not in alignment with you. So when we use these abstract words like alignment, not on my path, we're just not on the same frequency, or our vibes didn't work. That's vague, that's unclear, that lacks the punch, that lacks the logic, the reason. It lacks clarity. It lacks definition. And so then leaves your mind to wander. It makes your boundaries vague, shady, permeable. Uh, it make you're still you're leaving yourself open to experiences that you do not need, that could end up being detrimental. They could be big time wasters, energy wasters. So clarity and clarity of purpose is kind of the key to attracting and correcting your relationships, putting your priorities in gear, finding your energy. Okay. So the next thing, because we went into energy, is passion. So you have some purposes, you have some goals, values, some things, some visions and dreams that you would like to manifest, and you stand by, but you lack the energy to do it. It's probably really not your core purpose. It's not really in alignment with your authentic being. That's why you lack the energy. That's why you self sabotage. That's why it's such a chore to get you to point A to point B, to stay in that relationship, to stay at that job, to show up on time, to give it your all. It's because it's really not your true purpose. Those aren't your real beliefs. Those were a different set of values and beliefs that you bought into and you accepted as kind of like third place winners. You're really not going for first. You're not going for gold. You decided to go for bronze and copper. And so it lacks the strength. You don't show up to the game of life. You don't show up to each day fully charged, activated, and motivated. You're choosing less than gold. Well, guess what? Every time you do that, that's exactly what you get. More of that. You're tolerating, you're putting up with, you're accepting less than your ideal, less than your authenticity, less than who you are and why you're on the planet and how you're going to serve the planet during this time. You know? Oh, I'm going to serve the planet by just praying for all the homeless. Yeah, that's so effective. No, you chose lead. That was like not fully on board. If you really cared, you would probably go get a job that is serving the public somehow, fighting for their rights, um, working in a shelter, doing like you would have a way more hands on experience. So you're lying to yourself, okay? You're not. So you're looking at limitation. So you have your purpose, and then you see limitation, lack, suffering. It's going to cost you. You're going to have to put a little flesh in the game. And you go, maybe that's not my purpose. Let me talk myself out of it. Oh, yeah, I think it's just praying for other people. Saying lovely things. I'm an inspiration. Everyone loves me. I'm a real leader. No, you're not. You're a liar. Not a leader. You're a liar. You're fake. You're phony. And so instead of feeling bad and forcing yourself, it's probably not your purpose. You have a limited time, you have limited energy. How are you going to make the biggest impact? What's within your skill set? What is within your personality to actually do? That is your purpose, okay? It's showing up every day. It's more than showing up and being your authentic self, okay? I mean, that's required, but then show up every day being your authentic self, living and being your purpose. When you do that, you light up. There's 50 people in a room, and the people who need to have a interaction with you, You light up on their grid. You guys are in true alignment. You are magnetized. There's just something about you, and you're noticed. So, law of attraction is already done for you when you really take the time to discover why you're here on the planet and what do you have to offer these people, the next generation. You're the mother and you're the father of the future. If you do not realize this now, you're missing your purpose. So, so we have that passion and drive. Uh, you also need to have the skills and experience. You have to excel in this. There is no reason to go after something or maintain going after something, wasting your whole life trying to acquire a skill and ability when you have natural talents built into you. It could be, you might have a natural talent for raising kids, you might have a natural talent for doing artwork. These are real things. Yes, you can pursue these other things that are going to develop you, but there's actually a skill you were born with. Utilize it. That's where you are elite. That's where you shine the most. That's where you get gold easy. Do that because it's going to provide for you and get you out of your hole, and you're going to be recognized. So it's it's easier. And usually with ease and natural talent, there's a joy. So it's like you might discover you have a talent for it. I did. I discovered I have a talent for salesmanship. And salesmanship is something I totally don't like. But in the right environment, selling products that are in alignment with me, my values, I excelled. So I had to be in alignment with me. Then I was like this unstoppable force. And so it gave me a sense of confidence and pride and something to talk about when I'm engaged on a date or when I'm sharing information with my family and my coworkers. I have a filing cabinet of successes, of wins, of talents and skills. I have bragging rights. There's something authentic. It's not so much about what I can do, it's sharing that win, it's sharing that positive, passionate energy. It's coming from a place of fulfillment. So it charges everyone. They feel better about themselves. And they're like, you know what? Onyx was awesome. He came in, he shared about his life, he was open and vulnerable, and he was inspiring. We're all fighting the good fight. We're all overcoming different challenges. And when you come in with, it's kind of like a living, vital energy. It adds life to your relationships. It inspires, it's kind of like, it's a huge dose of energy. And it's not based really in egotism. It's not, look at me. It's like, I don't need anything from it. There's a joy because I already gave it to myself. I obtained that for myself. I accomplished my goals that were in alignment with my authenticity and my purpose and my values. So I'm already fulfilled. Now there's this outpouring. I have all this extra energy, and talking about it can re-inspire me for the next day. So it's a generative life force. It's not a give and take. It's generating for everyone. So you can't really have love until you have respect. You don't love your favorite superstar or sports hero or whoever it is unless you really respect something about them, kind of idolize them. You can be shallow and it can be about looks and money and notoriety, or you can dive a little deeper. It's actually their ability to act. It's actually their skill on the catwalk. It could also be just something intrinsic to their personality. Like they have a core quality that you have a core quality, so you admire that reflected back at you. So you choose to stand up as a fan and be energetic support. That's all good. Okay. Uh, but yeah, you have to kind of wear that gold medal with pride, healthy sense of pride and self worth, and be able to talk about it in healthy ways, to. So yeah, you have to have that. So you have to have a skill. You have to have skills. You have to have experience in life in order to continue on a conversation, in order to be valuable, in order to be seen as an asset. Yeah, I want that person on my team. They hit gold medal like 3 times, in whatever it is. It could be how fast they were in the kitchen, and they filled an order for a catering party, and so they're very reliable. So your skill level, your talent, your skills are usable in the world. So the in team experiences like coworkers and business. And then it extended that the catering party was a success. It was for someone's like special birthday or something like that. So this skill impacts the whole world in ways that we don't know. And so, yes. Okay. So we got purpose, passion, excellence, um, and then be you, which we kind of already talked about, being authentically you. We kind of had to do that to find our purpose, and to live our passion. So the last one, I call it being open to feedback. So now you're starting to realize it, you being excellent, you obtaining all your goals in life isn't exactly a one person job. It's not up to you to exactly go to therapy and do all the inner reflection and journaling all on your own. It actually takes a community, a support system, all of your previous jobs, all your family members, all your ups and downs, all your wins, all your failures. You notice it's a group experience on some level. So when you invite people this is what I'm learning now, when you invite people to support you as coaches, as therapists, as healers, as friends, as cheerleaders, as fans, you're gaining a collective support of energy, which helps you win, which helps you become, highlight, showcase who you are. So when I look at the most successful people, they usually had a strong family member supporting them. They had safety. There was a safety net. Maybe a parent bought them a car, or parents were assisting with their education, or through networking with friends and family, staying within the family, they kind of networked into the correct companies. And so life is a social game. I used to think it wasn't. I was so into this idea that I had to do it all on my own. I had to solve it all on my own, that I had to work through all the hardship on my own. And I also thought I used to think the only way to find value in it is to struggle. So I'd make things harder for myself, thinking I was getting more out of it. And I wasn't. I was just wasting, I was just doing it wrong. So being open to feedback, other people have different perspectives. They're coming from a different view, and they might be able to see an area, one of those gaps that we talked about, that you don't see. And they may say something, they may comment, they may, in a negative way, criticize by pointing out these things. And if you're feeling too sensitive and triggered, you may not take that vital information. Uh, you might be with your partner, and your partner says, that was a really great job, but I noticed this, this, and this. And then you fill in that gap and you feel betrayed, or you feel like they're not supporting you. Then you throw a temper tantrum, you might break up, or your ego gets bruised, And really, that wasn't their intention. Their intention is to just clarify, hey, I'm looking around this corner. You can't see that. I'm just sharing this. You know, I'm giving you my unsolicited advice. That's actually correct, based in wisdom and understanding and 20 years of experience. So really, it's coaching you. It's here's a cheat sheet on the path that you're going. You might want to listen. So being open and receptive, even though it may hurt, even though it may seem in the moment like criticizing, stealing your glow, being an obstacle, putting you down, raining on your parade, that probably wasn't their intention. And so being able to invite people in to realize they're actually trying to support you. Why is your boss so hard on you? They're actually grooming you to take their position. Well, why do they care? Because they care about the company, they care about you, and they've been doing that job for a long time. Their love language looks like being hard, looks like being critical and pointing out flaws. But isn't that the best? To have someone truly put you through the ranks, truly expect the most out of you, to see your, almost demand you be more than your excuse story. So this last one helps you understand conflict is good, having arguments is good, having discussions is good, and realizing they don't have to be conflicts and arguments, but they can be part of the creation of your success story, the development of you. It's not exclusively you. Let go of your ego, soften out your ego, or just recognize when your ego wants to react to it. Instead, learn to take feedback. That's part about being, and that is a form of love. And then, put it to the test, try it out, work together. So it's a team experience. If you want a partnership, if you want friendships, if you want family, if you want community, learn how to be a team player. Learn how to think collectively. It's not me and you, it's us. It's a greater mind, it's a greater heart, it's a greater goal. You're uniting values, you're uniting purposes, you're creating win-win situations. This is happening all the time. So there you go. It's all solved. Now apply it. Live your